If you're in the market for a mid-size three-row family SUV, the Kia Telluride has been a runaway success for Kia ever since they introduced the nameplate to the States all the way back in 2019. Now for 2027, we are seeing an all-new version. As you can see, Kia has really pulled out the stops here to kind of redefine the segment once again. So today we're actually out here at Kia's Design Center in Irvine, California, because we're getting a chance to see the new Telluride up in person. So now that we're doing so, let's go ahead and take a detailed first look. Now, I was actually a really big fan of the original Telluride when it first debuted back in 2019, and sales-wise, it was a huge hit for Kia. Vehicles were in high demand, dealers were charging over stickers, so the company had a huge task at hand when it came time to give us an all-new second generation. As you can see from the design of this car, it certainly looks like Kia has made the vehicle even more bold. In fact, it's definitely an evolution compared to the previous generation, but at the same time, they've grafted on a lot of their latest design cues. This model that we're showing you here is the top-of-the-line X Pro version, which means it's the more off-road oriented model. It's also painted in this very interesting color called terrain brown matte. Kia actually says they'll offer this brown in a glossy finish as well, and it's only available on the X-Line models. Sadly, today we are only getting a chance to take a look at this X Pro version. Now you can see the big Kia Tiger Nose grille has been digitized. It's much larger and much wider now, which also has these nice glossy black accents with the matte black accents. It has the blacked out Kia logo there. Of course, that's Kia's newest logo, which it looks like they actually removed the kind of aluminum textured look. Instead, it just kind of has a smooth gloss black finish to it. Being the X Pro model, you also have, again, a more aggressive front bumper with better approach angles. They didn't talk about what the angles were at this time, but you also have these beefy brown recovery tow hooks. And Kia did say that this model does get a suspension lift up to 9.1 inches of ground clearance on the X Pro models, which is actually more versus what this car's sister vehicle, the Hyundai Palisade XRT X Pro, has at around 8.4 inches. You can see the headlights. This model has their latest design signature here, where it has those dual daytime ring lights, which are still amber colored. Unfortunately, they did shut off. We'll see if we can try to turn them on later and get some B-roll footage, but the headlights have actually moved to this position here. Kia says lighting is now kind of the defining face of new vehicles as opposed to the grille. The grille is still very bold, but the light signature, the amber illumination, definitely kind of reminds you of the previous generation. You also have LED fog lights down here on this lower area on this X Pro model. And overall, with the gloss black accents and this kind of terrain brown matte color, it certainly gives this car a very bold design to it. In fact, it very much to me looks like a Range Rover, whereas the previous generation reminded me of an Escalade. Now underneath the hood, I can't pop the hood today. Kia wasn't ready to talk about what's going on in terms of the powertrain, but we do know this car's sister vehicle, the Palisade, has a new 3.5 liter direct injection V6, making 287 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. That goes out through an 8-speed auto, and there's also going to be a hybrid coming. They did confirm that a hybrid is coming, which should be the same 2.5 liter turbo that's on the Palisade, making around 339 horsepower. Fuel economy for the Hyundai version is around 29 to 31 mpg. I suspect it should be pretty similar. Again, the hybrid model is probably the one that a lot of people are going to try to get because hybrids in this segment have gone rare, or at least are rare, but Hyundai and Kia are kind of leading that forefront there, joining the Toyota Grand Highlander by offering electrified power. Now moving around the side profile, you can see Kia says it's built on an updated architecture, something that it shares with the new Hyundai Palisade as well. And it's also gotten a growth spur, of course. The wheelbase has been stretched by 3 inches. The overall length, Kia says, is 2.3 inches long. So if you compare it to the previous model, we're probably looking at around 199-inch overall length with a 117-inch long wheelbase. So it's a nicely proportioned vehicle, not as big as some rivals like the Grand Highlander or a Chevrolet Traverse. But I also love how they've kept kind of that boxy Range Rover-esque profile, and also has a lot of smoothed out lines here, including those retractable door handles. So that's the first time Kia has gone to that for the Telluride, and compared to its sister vehicle, the Palisade, it gives it a much more upscale and premium look. You can see the wheels on this X Pro model. Kia says they're going to offer a choice between an 18, a 20, or a 21-inch wheel. Obviously on the X Pro, you're going to get an all-terrain tire that goes with it. It's an 18-inch wheel on a 255 by 60 R18. All disc brakes, of course. They weren't ready to talk about some of the detailed specs. Remember, they said that this model would have around 9.1 inches of ground clearance. You also have this unique fender wheel arch trim on the X Pro models, which also has this kind of blocky design cue here that kind of breaks up some of the paint colors here. And I think it looks really nice, especially when you pair it with all the black accents like these black mirrors, as you can see, with integrated turn signals. They also power fold in, I believe. And you also have kind of this black trim that kind of creates like a floating roofline design that's also echoed onto the rear. I am surprised to see this model doesn't have a blacked out roof. I don't know if Kia is going to offer that at some point, but you do get that panoramic dual style sunroof, and you also have a beefier roof rail on this version as well. And then following me over to the rear, you can see it just has a really boxy, blocky design that really does, to me, look like the new Range Rover. In fact, if you look at the new Range Rover and park it next to this vehicle, I actually think the Kia looks better, which is not a good thing for the Land Rover. It kind of just has that upscale, boxy design that people really love nowadays. Now you can see there's an integrated spoiler here with the third brake light kind of coming across the entire area. The rear wiper is tucked underneath there, so I love how that's been kind of cleaned up a bit. You do have this rear camera mirror for the digital camera mirror. I don't like how it's not kind of in the middle. That kind of bothers my OCD, but that's kind of a small detail. I also love the black badging that's probably included with the X Pro model. There's a subtle little X Pro badge here to let everybody know you have the off-road version, along with big beefy orange colored recovery tow hooks. And you can see the rear bumper has a little bit more of a rugged design. I don't know if this vehicle is going to have any skid plates or whatnot, but it certainly looks like you could easily replace the Kia badge and put some Land Rover badges on it. And obviously a power opening liftgate is going to be included on this trim. And while Kia wasn't ready to talk about the cargo figures just yet, all Tellurides come with a third row as standard, and you can also fit 3 people across, so you can seat up to 8. The old model offered around 20 cubic feet of space. The current Palisade offers around 19. I'd estimate this is probably around the same ballpark of like 19, 20 cubic feet of space. You do have some additional underfloor storage here, which is also kind of divided out nicely. You also have your jack included. So there is a spare tire, obviously, with this model, which is nice. There's still no power folding third row seats. That's something that Hyundai has always had, but Kia sadly has always gotten the shaft there. And as you can see, you can easily fold down the back seat area by pulling that strap. And I would estimate the old model had around 46 cubic feet of space. This should be the same. If you fold down everything, the old model had around 87 cubic feet of space. Again, it should be roughly the same. If you're looking for a model that has a bench seat as opposed to captain chairs, I'm guessing you're probably going to have to downgrade to a model that's not quite as high trim as this particular one that I'm showing you here. So obviously Kia knocked it out of the park with the exterior design of the new Telluride, but what about the interior? This is where the old model had a lot of rugged refinement and just a lot of luxury touches, along with a lot of interior space. And as you can see, for this fully loaded X Pro model that we're showing you here, Kia has definitely given us an evolutionary design change, while at the same time they've added some design cues from the flagship EV9, because in their lineup, they've got the EV9 as their flagship electric SUV. This is their flagship gas-powered SUV. You can see the interior color. This is the all-black interior with the upgraded leather, along with this kind of suede two-tone combination. Kia says they're also going to offer like a Tuscan umber with a navy accent, along with like a new blackberry interior color, which is like a purple, which has beige accents. I haven't had a chance to see that yet, but in this all-black color, it's a little bit too dark for me, but I love the fact that Kia has given us, again, some actual colors to kind of go with. Now, as you step inside, with its 9.1 inches of ground clearance, you have that nice, easy SUV step-in height. As I get in and shut the door has a really solid sounding thunk, so it adds to that whole impression of quality. And again, when you approach this vehicle, it looks like you're coming up to a luxury vehicle. When you're inside, it also gives you that same vibe, because as you can see, this model here that we're showing you, and I imagine all of them are going to come standard with their latest CNCC software, which has, again, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have a 12.3-inch display here, another 5-inch display here for the climate control functions, and then you also have a fully digital 12.3-inch cluster. I suspect the lower trims may not have the fully digital instrument cluster for the driver, but again, with this kind of 30-inch wall of screens here, I think it's the perfect size. It's not overwhelming, whereas some brands have added like passenger screens here. I think this is definitely the perfect amount. I don't always love the climate control screen here, as it kind of gets blocked by the steering wheel, but I think Kia has also positioned it a little bit better versus what we see in the EV9. Now, in terms of the material quality, this is the top trim, so let's go ahead and talk about that. And then I also want to point out this is an early pre-production model, so some things may change compared to a production car. You can see the door panel has a soft touch injection molded plastic with some faux stitching. You have a lot of buttons here for your heated steering wheel. It's got that ergo motion massaging driver's seat. You've got 2-person memory. You've got a toggle wheel that works the heated and cooled seats, and this nice little padded area over here. Window controls are one touch up down for all 4, so that's a nice touch. I expect that on the top trim. And then the door handle release is actually this little lever here that you kind of just pull, and that opens up the door for you. You have ambient lighting and hard touch plastic and lots of storage, and that door pocket there. And then in terms of the steering wheel, you can see it's a new flat bottom and flat top design. It has a power tilt telescoping function. You don't typically find that in this segment. It also has their latest driver assistance tech with that camera that watches your face. It has some newer and also like same switchgear from the previous model. The gear selector is right here, which kind of frees up the center console space, which I really appreciate. You basically twist it back to go into drive, twist it forward to go to reverse. Your start-stop button is also here. And then you can see the rest of the controls. I like how Kia has kept traditional vents. You have these buttons here to access your quick shortcuts. You have a volume knob over here, along with your tri-zone climate control and 3 USB-C charging ports. You're also noticing this is what Kia calls engineered carbon fiber, which I feel like is another way of saying it's a faux carbon fiber, but it certainly looks good. You can also get an engineered wood if you guys don't want the carbon fiber. This is included on the X Pro trim. You have this like lid that is supposed to close, or actually you push it in, that's what closes up. You can see it's a really cool looking design, but if you leave it open, you can see there's nice size cup holders here, which you can kind of stow away if you want to create a huge storage area. And you also have other buttons here if you want to push that. It brings up your 360 camera, which Kia has always had really great quality resolution. As you can see, that kind of continues on that trend here where you can do a full 360 perimeter scan. I imagine this is included when you guys go for the top trims. There's also your parking sensor defeat button there. And then the fact that it has wireless phone charging pads is a nice touch on those longer road trips. The center console, you can see, has a lot of nice materials where you essentially touch them. So you can see there's the faux and real leather on this upper portion, leather covering this kind of dual grab handles here. Nice padded center console, which opens up in 2 ways. I am surprised it's not quite as deep, although I suspect there's storage in the second row, which we'll find out when we get back there to kind of talk about that. Some other Kia and Hyundai models offer like a button here where you can adjust this seat forward and back. It's not on this model. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but I find the seats to be very comfortable, very supportive. This model has the upgraded leather. I just want to see it in a different color, which would really break up the kind of darkness in this interior. I do love the ambient light strip here. You can see the dash has a soft touch injection molded plastic with faux stitching. It's kind of carried over here as well with that engineered carbon fiber. There's kind of like a matte black plastic trim here, and then you can see open up the glove box. It's stamped and it's lined with felt. It offers additional storage there, which is a nice touch. In fact, there's a lot of storage in this vehicle, and that's because it's going to be a family car. On those road trips, that's going to be an important factor. Now you can see the mirror is auto dimming. It has that digital camera style on this top trim. You also have this ultra suede material on the roof liner, which is typically not something you find in this segment. And you also have that sunroof that opens up. This is technically a standard sunroof over the driver front seat area, but it's got a panoramic roof in the back that doesn't open, but it's nice for letting in some air. This model also includes a heads-up display. So overall, it's about what I expected. If you guys have been inside the EV9, this interior is going to be quite familiar. I just really want to see it in another color, but I have to say I like the design of this overall compared to what Hyundai did in the Palisade. Let's go ahead and hop into the second and the third row area. I can show you guys what that's like. Now, Kia did not have any final legroom figures just yet. However, we can kind of speculate because the Palisade is similar, and that offers around 42 inches of legroom back here, which is still a very good amount. You can see this model has the captain's chairs, which limits the seating capacity to 7 as opposed to 8. But once you get back here, you can see I kind of had this as my driving position. At 5'7", I have a ton of space here to stretch out. The floor is almost completely flat, which is nice. And then this is why the center console is shallow. This pulls out, and you can also reveal another storage area here. So that's always a really nice touch. You've got 2 USB-C charging ports here, cup holders, of course, storage pockets, and then you can see you have these retractable sunshades, which is a big feature for a lot of families. You have heated and cooled second row seats. The Telluride and the Palisade were the first vehicles in the segment to include that. And you can see you also have the ability here to recline this seat, which actually reclines a pretty good amount. You also have this armrest that folds down and is slightly adjustable, which is nice. You can also slide these seats forward and back. As you can see, there's a pretty good adjustable range of motion here. And then that big glass roof has a retractable shade. This doesn't open up to vent air, but you have that beautiful suede Alcantara, and your vents and lighting and your dual zone climate control, tri-zone climate control is located here on the ceiling. So overall, the second row area feels pretty much similar to the current generation, but I like, some of the upscale touches that Kia is giving us here. Now get into the third row, there's a button here on the top of the seat. If you push that, the seat kind of slides out of the way. And this is a nice feature if you have a child seat latched here, because it allows you to keep the child seat anchored where you don't actually have to give up the ability to slide the seat forward. Now again, Kia doesn't have any third row legroom figures just yet, but the current Palisade has around 32 inches of legroom back here, which expands, I believe, to 33.9 if you slide this seat forward. That's in the Hyundai, of course. But as you can see at 5'7", with this all the way back, I can actually sit back here. It's not amazing in terms of the space, but it is good for a shorter trip. You have some air vents back here. You have some LED map lighting, of course. You have a decent sized window so you can see out of the back here. Sadly, you don't get the recline function that's power on the Palisade. You don't get heated seats back here. You have a USB port, and it's all hard touch plastic. And again, you can sit 3 people across back here, although it would be a little bit tight. But overall, in terms of the headroom, the legroom space, if you plan to use this as a family car for all 3 rows, and you have the current Telluride, this is going to feel pretty similar to the current model that's out right now. Now, in terms of sales, the Kia Telluride, again, has been a huge runaway success for Kia. In fact, when they first launched this vehicle in 2019, their sales were around 60,000 units annually. Today, however, as of 2025, they are on track to do 120,000 units. So Kia has essentially doubled their sales, and this model outsells the Palisade by a few thousands or tens of thousands of units. So with this introduction of the all-new second generation, again, this is a 2027 model year, Kia says it'll be available at your local Kia dealerships in the early part of 2026. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kia continue to hold that lead against the Palisade, because while I like the Palisade when I first drove it, I'm actually going to spend a full week with the car when I get back from this event. I suspect that people are going to gravitate more toward the Telluride just for its design. And that's kind of where Kia knocked it out of the park, because they essentially captured the essence of a Range Rover for this model. But at the same time, I actually kind of think they did a better job than Land Rover, which is a very tough thing to do, where you have a non-premium luxury brand making a vehicle that looks even more expensive than, those $150,000 Range Rovers that you see kind of driving around your local streets. But in terms of pricing, sadly, we don't have pricing available just yet, but we can kind of speculate again. The current Telluride starts at around $36,400. The current Palisade, the new version, starts at around $39,500. So I suspect currently the Kia Telluride is a little bit less expensive than the old Palisade. I wouldn't be surprised to see this model check in at maybe $1,000 less than the Hyundai. So only time will tell when Kia announces that pricing. If you're gonna speculate on this model here, this is the fully loaded version, although we don't know if this model is the hybrid or the gas. I suspect this is the gas model, considering there's no hybrid badges on the back. I would estimate fully loaded like this, it's probably gonna be around $58,000. The current model tops out at around $55,000. So it seems reasonable for Kia to charge an extra $2,000, $3,000 for the new version, and considering the extra space, technology, and luxury you now get. But overall, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Are you more a fan of the Telluride or the Palisade? But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my very detailed overview on the brand new 2027 Kia Telluride. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.